I am. There's rain, and I had 3 seizures in the last day, let's say. So I'm, with low pressure and the way my body feels, I'm very reclined. And so I'm trying to take it easy. It's not an easy thing for me. It's funny that taking it easy is not easy. I guess it's hard in a certain way, but it's not easy to not do it. I'm very determined to maintain my physical strength, my limberness, my agility. The last time I was doing this discourse was before the seizures, and I was talking about being duty. And being duty is one of those things that's really important to me. Mostly from that place of being true to self, being as creative as one can be as a being, to be as kind as one can be. And when one is doing one's being duty, all those things fall into place really easily. That's an easy thing. And that's because everything about everything about me is designed for this being duty. I have certain qualities in my body, in my mind, in my agility that enables me to do what I do, to dance, sing, and play the violin. If I didn't have those, then I couldn't do that. I also have experiences that taught me to be more expansive with my thinking about playing the violin, about singing, about dancing, about art, about all the quaternity of arts. As I said, I don't consider myself an artist. I consider myself a being, a Twoman being, and I do creative works. I dance through the street, I sing to people, I draw ink drawings, I write. Writing is the one that has devolved the most, because when I was younger, it was what I wanted to do. I thought that was my being duty. But I discovered that there are certain ineptitudes I have that caused difficulty. Whereas the violin is so it's meant for me, as the dream said. And dancing, it is one thing that I could have been when I was in high school. I could have gone to performing arts instead of music and art, and been a dancer. Some of my best friends became dancers, Serapio and Daniel. Both were very close to me. I also could have drawn, but that the least, I think. Painted, drawn, sculpted. I like sculpting the best. I like the 3D manipulation of materials. So that's not being duty, that's just talents. Or I shouldn't say just. They are talents. And talents are, in a sense, signposts for you. Without the experiences, without the mentors, without the inspiration and dreams, it is difficult to find the being duty. The being duty is a very, it's an unconscious state, it's an unconscious awareness. And I believe that everybody has a being duty. I think that the difficulty that people have is that, for the most part, a lot of their friends, family, teachers deter them from their being duty. They have the dream, they have the impetus, they have the inspiration, but the teacher tells them to, let us say, disparate inspiration. The teacher or the parent, mostly parents, sometimes peers, they introduce doubts and uneasiness in the path of one's being duty. And this can be difficult. And difficult to retrieve it after it's been capsized. Difficult to my openness to my being duty has enabled me to be very supportive of others. I don't make a big to-do about it. I don't say, oh, that's so great, or this, or I support the process, and I'm very supportive in the method that a person is seeking that being duty. There are not many people I have met who are seeking their being duty. I see mostly people doing things that are trendy, that are similar to a group of people that they're involved in, that are I see it mostly as it's difficult to break away from the fear of being alone. Being duty is a lonely impetus, because it is not anybody else's being duty, it is ours, it is mine, it is yours, it is. But how then does one find that being duty? How does one really open to it? How does one let it fully blossom? The process is a bit difficult because there's unconscious that's involved. There are dreams. These can be vaporous and illusory and diaphanous. So they're difficult to pin down. You kind of have to sit with them and let them be with you. I, for some reason, from a young age, really welcomed my dreams, and then I had a teacher in the university who was very supportive of full dreaming and the validity of dreaming. And I also believe in the validity of dreaming. The shapes and the forms that happen in a dream are a mixture of so many things, so much imagery, many feelings, and that core self that is yearning to come out and be fully expressive. I think that most, if not all, people want to be fully expressive. I think also that there are people who don't have the talent to do so. To not have the talent and have the desire to express, for instance, if not having the talent to sing and then going around singing everywhere, that would be unpleasant because the person singing out of tune, the quality of their voice is not limber. It has no sonority. It has no resonance. So that is complicated. Somebody can say, my being duty is to sing throughout the world, and they can't sing in tune. Can they learn to sing in tune? It's a question. Being in tune is a matter of hearing the resonance and the entrained vibrations between two notes, so that when you hit a note and you hit another note, you recognize their similarity, if not identicalness. When you tune your instrument, you recognize that fifth, so that you can do that. I see a lot of musicians these days using electric tuners, and I don't agree with doing that. I think that is undermining a skill. I think that an electric tuner can provide a very strict E, for instance. But if one can tune to that E without an electric tuner, that enables you not to have to use an electric tuner. And for me, almost everything is about being completely self-sufficient. It's something that has always been important to me. And for me also, the being duty is a type of self-sufficiency, because the duty is, the goal is the path, and if one can fully embrace this path, not only is there a happiness in it, but there is such a creative and expressive path in it. so for me, once I started hearing about this through Jung, through Don Juan, I'm trying to think of a few others. I'm not at the moment. Once I started hearing about those philosophers and spiritualists, I realized that that is one of the things that I've always had. I've been very talented in my awareness of my being duty because of that violin dream. I was handed the violin at a young age, right at the time that I would need to, because before that age, it's negligible. It's when you have come into full consciousness at 8 that you start really recognizing what the value is of practice, what the value is of the instrument, what the value is of tones and sounds. Until that point, you're just scared of them. They're unpredictable. They're doing this. They're doing that. It doesn't really have any significance in a deep way. So having that dream about being given the violin, and then being asked what instrument I want to play, and then starting a violin at 8 or 7.5 was really helpful to me. It's not like I became Paganini. It's not like I became Sarasate. It's that I became me in my expression of the violin, and I express it differently than many people do the violin. I have a way with it that is my own. And having that way, fulfilling that way, is being duty. And being duty to me is exceptionally important. In addition, being duty is connected with death, because death is non-being, and being is not death. They are, I can't say opposites, they sit on the Tao in that circle and spin around each other. You're living in, let us say, in the white zone, you're alive, and then in the black zone, you're dead. And the diagram seems to indicate that there's an aspect of death in life and an aspect of life and death. And I do believe that. One could even call dreaming an aspect of death. But to find one's being duty fully, to fully embrace it, to fully embrace who you are, to fully embrace your core truth and expressive capacity and talent, is a wonderful goal and occupation. All those things that I do, all those chores that I do, shopping, getting this, carrying this, they are in relation to my being duty. So my being duty then carries everything. In a sense, and it teaches me frugality. It teaches me how not to spend money, how to live and to fully embrace life without having greed and exceptional desire for money and material wealth. So I want to really understand this nature of being duty, because it's because we as individuals come into this world in such a particular point. That particular point is very imprinting. It's really, and nobody else is coming in at that point. We come in through our particular mother. We come in through whatever hospital room or deck or bedroom we meet, whoever we meet. And every one of those things is and can be applied to one's being duty, because they are the part of us that is so special. When we dream, they are our dreams. We dream our being duty. I dreamed my being duty. I know I did, and I have fully embraced it. It was not easy to get to it. There were many, many things that tried to dissuade me, tried to undermine me, tried to insult me, tried to hurt me, and tried to push me away from that. Because of that, too, I would say that it also contributed to my being duty by creating a force that was that I had to overcome. And that overcoming meant and developed to an extremely powerful public presence. So, being duty is a very, it's both a chosen path and a given path, let's say, where everything has been, there's a mother, there's a family, there's an environment to be living in. And these things are all, and can contribute to one's being duty if one maintains sight of it. If one becomes focused on money or material wealth, then being duty will disappear. That is not what happens to one when one is looking at material wealth and money, because being duty is a core spirit place. It is very deep. I won't get any further than that, because what that does is it gets into the realm of faith and belief, and being duty is not belief. Being duty is. Sometimes it's really sad to see somebody and they have an extraordinary they have an extraordinary talent. And I do wonder what they may have gotten as messages in their dreams, in their life, that pointed to a being duty that they didn't fulfill. There's a feeling of sadness for them, because everything is really about making money and making a material thing. It's definitely not what I do. The rain and the seizures and the soreness have made me very, very lackadaisical, and I'm not as vibrant as I can usually be. And that's all right, but it's a little difficult. It's a little difficult. What's an interesting thing also about life is I have chosen very strictly to use only an acoustic violin. I don't use electric violins. I don't use microphones. And there is a reason for it, which I've mentioned before. But in terms of being duty also, the electronics give people more power than they have available to them. They are borrowing power from let's say from a team of electrons. And when they do that, they, in a sense, they overmatch, they go too far for their talents and skills. And they thus plug in and make it seem like they can play a bunch of notes really fast, or they can do all these things at the same time, or they can play in tune. I just spoke of that. Or they can sing really loud. It doesn't necessarily amount to anything horrible, because I'm not going to change it. All of you use all these electronics and you use them to increase your power to dominate something so you can make more money. When I play, I don't do that. And that's also part of being duty. When one has landed on one's being duty, then money comes. And this is one of the clues. As I said, being duty is connected to talent, to experience, and to influences. And they all come together, and you, as the dreamer and the core feeling and the holographic center of the universe, I want to say one, because you is incorrect. And one is the holographic center of the universe. Then everything seems to come. And it's not exorbitant things. It's not 5 cars or 10 houses or a fancy business. It's all about a very humble and very, very happy lifestyle. It's all about frugality, which gains its inspiration from one's being duty. If one is occupied with one's being duty, then one, by need and desire, is frugal and practice frugality. The rains are passing overhead. A shower will come. It will pass on, then another shower. I didn't walk today. I just feel, I can't say I feel hit by a truck, but my body is fairly sore. All the clenching, all the hands, the mouth, the back, the legs. So it's a little difficult for me today. And and sometimes it's difficult. When something is difficult, it allows one the opportunity to fully push through. Or rest. Rest is good too. You can push through or rest. My tendency is to push through. Today, I sort of pushed through. I worked out to almost a full degree, and then I am resting. I'm resting in this talk, in fact.